Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? I hope everybody's doing well. Y'all have had a good weekend. I want to introduce our guest tonight. Blue Eyes Jewel is with us, and she has some really interesting things to talk about. So we'll get started with that. But hello, beautiful. How are you? Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, hear
Okay.
you. Yeah. Let's see how everybody's doing. We got Miss Millie in the house. Yeah, yeah. Miss Janice and our beautiful Smiley, who had a birthday yesterday. Happy birthday. We got Miss Janice. Oh, Landon. Aloha. Little Dev. Thank y'all for being here. Anybody in the bushes? Hello, hello, and welcome. Hope you're all well. Um, hey, do there should be another button that says comments. Do that one, and that way you can see everyone.
Okay,
Did you
cool.
find it?
Yes.
We're trying trying to get her maneuvered through all this, and she is thinking about starting her own channel. So yay for her. Hey Titan, how you doing? Thanks for being here. Just me. I appreciate y'all so much. We're gonna wait just a little bit, see if we can get a few more people in here, and then we'll start talking. We have had a ball tournament yesterday and today, and I was at the ballpark from 8 o'clock this morning till about 3:30. But they got third place for the 8U, and they had only formed their little team less than 2 months ago. So kudos to them. And then my granddaughter's team, they got fifth. So it was a fun day at the ballpark. So, hey, Cornbread, how are you? Hi, Miss Kathy. Just me. Yeah, happy birthday, Smiley. I hope you had a great day, Smiley. Well, we have Miss Blue Eyes here, and she has been looking into Sebastian's case very deep in. She's also been in contact with the family. So, it's going to be very interesting when you hear some of what she has to say, and our whole thing here is where's Sebastian? Where is he? And I don't know if any of you have heard the audio that's being put out. They're trying to slow it down, trying to clear it up a little bit. But there were some interesting words that I heard, and I could hear Katie saying, I love you twice at the end before she was told, go home, go home, go. So, heard the word flashlight. It was rather creepy to listen to it. And when you hear those little words, just random out of the blue from this jumbled mess of sound, you can hear a conversation actually happening. And to think of what that could be, just doesn't sound very well. So, anyways, y'all check that audio out. I'm going to try to get a copy of it so we can listen to it ourselves, but I'm pretty sure most of you've been over there on Justin's. Different places are playing it, so yeah, it's pretty sad. So, Blue Eyes, would you like to take it from here and just tell us your story?
Sure. So, ever since this case come out, it has been just tugging at the heartstrings. It's just been one thing right after the other with it. And so it just all of a sudden I decided I'm going to take a trip to Hendersonville, Tennessee, and I'm going to go look for this child myself. And I took my daughter with me, which she thought I was really crazy at first when I just called her and said, "Hey, you want to go to Tennessee?" So me, my mom, and her took off, and we met at the Rudder because that's where Seth was actually doing his searches from. But by the time we got there, we had missed his last, well, the rest of the day he had already finished up for the searches. So we decided that we would go ahead and go check in. We rode around a couple places, went to the house. When we did take a stroll by the house, all the lights were on, even the floodlights and stuff. They said that they don't never keep on and stuff. But we went by there and we drove around, got, and did what we needed to do to familiarize ourselves with certain areas. So the next day, me and my daughter decided to go out. We met at the Rudder. We signed the list to go search because they made you sign a sign-in sheet with your name and phone number, and you took a picture of it so that you would have the numbers to call to people if you found anything. And we handed out thousands of flyers, and we went out and was near the house. And we got to this little, it was like a little barbecue place, and I had texted Chris on Messenger, and I asked him, I said, "We are here now and we're trying to figure out what's the best place to search." Now, this is the day that they redid the searches and had the fire department as their command center. And he told us, he said, "Okay," he said, "I can tell you where to go." He said, "You need to go to Mary's Magical Place because that is where um, Sebastian liked to go." And he said, and if he wanted to, he could walk there. And so we actually asked a cop while we were talking to him on the phone. We asked a cop to come up, and I asked him, I said, "Are we allowed to search?" And he said, "Yes, just don't get in the way with all the other ones that was searching." I said, "Well, we're going to go some other places." Well, Chris told me, he said, "It's okay. Tell him who you're on the phone with." And I said, "Okay." So I told the cop I was on the phone with Christopher Proudfoot. Cop was okay with it and everything. So he took us all directions down uh, to Stop 30 Road. I mean, he directed us all to it by the phone. And he said that Sebastian would have walked that road. Well, being barefooted and walking that road, no, I don't see that happening because I just, with the textures and what they were explaining about Sebastian, I don't think that he could have stood that road. That road was horrible when we were driving down it. And so we went down to the Mary's Magical Place, sorry. And we looked out there. We put out flyers. We went down on the creek beds, everything we looked through there. And as I said, we've talked to him several times. And I started talking to him probably on March 27th. And I had asked him just several things. I said, my heart breaks for y'all's family, and I can't imagine the hurt of a missing child. And I said, "You said that you would answer all questions." And I watched the interviews and all the others that you and Katie have done. And I said, "I'm confused because in one interview, I think it said you were home on the 25th of February and left and went back to Memphis." And I said, "Is this correct?" And he said, "No, I got home the 26th, the day that Sebastian was missing, around 1 p.m. He said, he said, "I haven't been home since early February." And so we've been talking on and off. my daughter's like, no, we don't talk to him no more. But I can't, because I feel like he was starting to communicate with me. I felt like he was starting to trust me with things that he would talk to me about. And I just, at first, I wasn't believing, in my opinion, that they were actually guilty of anything because of everything he was telling me. And I know some certain people are, on the fence with each one of them and all that, but I can tell you this, me and my daughter didn't get a good opinion of Seth either. But I don't feel, I don't know what to say about Seth right now. I've gotten some weird vibes out of that since all this stuff has been coming out with him and Tony. But Chris was seeming to, talk more and all that stuff. And I told him, I said, I've heard so many horrific stories and I can't imagine living this nightmare. And I asked him, I said, I just have a few questions. I said, because I'm really, you know, there's something going on over here being said. There's this person over here saying this, and all people are saying just different things. And I said, was Sebastian's bed messed up when you guys checked in on him to wake him up that morning? And I said, do you think he might be close to your home or farther away from the home? Well, his reaction was, people need a villain for their narratives. It's easy to blame a step parent because of statistics or the parent who last saw their child. And he says, I think he is farther away than we realize at this point. Anything is possible, honestly. And so that's when I had asked him, this was when we was coming up there and all that. And I asked him about if there was any places that we could search. He told me to reach out to Sumner County EMA director. And so that's when it all got started. And we were already up there, and he is the one that thinks that Seth is trying to draw all the attention to him and make profits off of them, which I did ask him. I said, so how come y'all haven't started a GoFundMe or put up billboards, or been out there helping with things? He said, we have been searching. We do it on our own time. And he said, it's a little bit hard to do that when you got people threatening you all the time. He said, following you around. So I said, the situation with you and Katie, I said, is there a divorce in the future? And he said no, and that they wasn't selling their house. And he said, and Katie would not be speaking to anybody because she is not ready. And I said, well, she needs to, because I said, this is why people are getting the assumptions that she's guilty of something. I mean, if it was my child, I would be screaming to the world. And my babies were grown. And I'm like, I would not stop. I'd stay up 24/7, go hell and high water to find my children. And still to this day, even if they are grown, but they'll always be my babies.
Right.
And so he told me just to keep reaching out to her. Maybe she would change her mind. And, and I'd start the conversation with him on the next days and say, hey, I said, I was just seeing how y'all were doing. Is there been any new news? And he says, no, there's nothing been anything told to us. It's all the same stuff. And I think that it's weird that they are talking to law enforcement and law enforcement's talking to them, but they're not giving nothing to Seth. And I don't know if it's,
right.
With my opinion, if it's because Seth has released a lot of stuff that probably shouldn't have been released. And I don't know what it is, but I don't know if it's because they are the parents he was with, but I think that all parties should be involved, including Seth. That is his child too.
Right.
And he he told me that Katie was going to be staying with him at first. You know, because she was, I think they did the Nancy Grace, and she had even told them that she was going back with him to stay with him while he goes back to work because she wasn't working at the time and all that. And I asked him about the bus stop and all that in front of the house because I was curious, you know, does he ride the bus? And nobody's ever really said that I've heard. And he said, yes, he has one. It's in directly in front of our house. Katie sometimes takes him, but don't usually. He usually rides the bus. And he said, but if you're getting vibes off of this one channel that's saying that he went to the bus stop and took a right, that ain't true. Well, how do you know that? You wasn't home. So you say. And I asked him, I said, do you honestly know or can say it in your heart that you don't know where Sebastian is? And he says, trust me, we want him home. We honestly don't know where he is. And when he said that, it was just like, okay, I got a weird feeling. And me and my daughter went backwards and forth every time about this. And, you know, and I said, I texted him that night, one night on March 31st. I said, Chris, I was wondering about the clothes Sebastian had on when Katie and him left the Texas Roadhouse. I said, are those accounted for? And was he on medication? What kind? And was the meds that he needed every day? And I said, I hope your Easter has been good considering the situation. Well, he never would answer me. And so he didn't answer me back till April 2nd. And he said, we are hanging in there. And that's when the press conference was supposed to start. They were supposed to do, which they said that they didn't have any new information and all that, which he told me it would be played again at 11. So I'm not from Tennessee. I'm actually from North Carolina. So he said, due to death threats, we're not currently meeting anyone unless they have been vetted by the LE. He said it's for safety reasons, and I don't know why he would just come out and say that because he didn't offer to do that. So I don't know what he meant by that. And I said, are you and Katie going to be at the press conference? And he said, no, we're not. And I said, okay. So, and I asked him, I said, I just seen the press conference and they said they found glasses. I said, were they Sebastian's and where did they find them? He said, we cannot speak on that. LE will not allow us, which we've all heard that over and over and over. I said, okay, I respect that. And I told him, I said, when we do find Sebastian and bring him home, I said, I would love to meet your son. And he said, he's my stepson. And he said, and I'll make sure that you get to meet him. And so I was like, okay. So I went on, and later that night, Chris asked him if there was any news. And I asked him again because I'd heard that they were selling their house. And he said, no, we are not selling the house. He said, that's funny, though. I was like, okay. And I said, I had just seen it. And he said, Sebastian's birthday is December 7th. I was like, okay. Just stuff out of the blue that I didn't really ask. And so I told him, I said, I texted him the next morning and I said, I hope y'all are doing okay. And I said, I hope that there's some positive information out there that on the searches. And he said, thank you so much. Prayers we get some answers soon. And he said nothing was new. Later on that evening, he texted me and said nothing new was found and still no leads. Sorry to report. And I said, I hate to hear that. And he talked about Indian Lake while we was up there. And I'm not sure. He said it was like 8 miles from their house. And I don't know if anybody knows if that place has been searched. Do you know if that has?
I have no idea. I've never heard of Indian Lake. Has anybody? Oh, Smiley said yes. It's been searched, Smiley? I hope so.
Because I didn't know. I didn't with him saying it was 8 miles from the house.
Okay, she knows about it, but she doesn't know if it's been searched.
Okay, because that's one of the places he told us to go. And we had already went to another lake that we were sent on it was more of a wild goose chase than it was anything, because somebody thought it was Chris's truck parked up there, but it wasn't, because we even snuck up on the truck to get the tag number and all that stuff. So yeah. Um, I asked him about, and I'm not sure if I'm saying it, Hermitage Hill. Is that right? Does that sound
Herman
right?
Shield? I have
Yes.
no clue about that one.
I don't either. And I don't know what it was, because somebody, I think, said that it was like a home for kids. I don't know what it
Smiley, do you
is.
know about that one? Smiley's from that area.
Oh, okay.
Hermitage Hill.
Yeah, it's spelled Hermitage Hill.
Hmm. What
So,
was it? She said it was like a home for kids. I don't know.
okay. And then I asked him, because we were talking to a friend of ours, and she told
What
us
was
that
it about the Hermitage Hill she's asking? Sorry,
that was one of the places that was named.
by Chris.
Hmm.
He talked about it to her.
I don't know if there's just an area around it, or if it was a significant place or
It was
not.
somewhere to be searched.
Yes. But I told him, I asked him, I said, is there, I asked him about if there were any abandoned basements or anything like buildings that might have been torn down around their area, since they're doing a lot of construction there. And he said no, and that there was no businesses around there that had basements, because I was thinking, well, if he did go off on his own and it was dark and all he had was his little flashlight, we don't know how long that was going to hold up or whatever, and maybe he fell down in it and got hurt and just couldn't get back
Right.
out of it. So, and nobody would have hurt him if it was out there. And he says that there's no business around there and he said they don't have basements. And he said, I really want to tell you thank you so much for all your help in spreading flyers as well. My wife and I are so grateful for all your help you and your daughter have done to help us. And so when we got ready to leave, we went to Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge. We went by and seen Seth first. We met his mom and his dad and talked to him, that I wanted to get more flyers because we were going to Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge. So we went down, we went down there and we handed out flyers everywhere. And so next thing you know, there's this guy come up to me and my daughter and said, hey, there is a guy that fits the description of this flyer. And he's down here at this one little cookie candy shop. So we take off running down there. And this poor little dude, he looked just like him, but maybe a little bit on the heavier side. And his manager was like, dude, you really do look like him. But his name was Bobby. And it wasn't him. We got our hopes up, but we handed out tons of flyers before we left and all that and come back home. And I've just been keeping up with it ever since. And so as long ever since we've been back, I've still been talking to him. And his stepdad, even, I mentioned, I had actually posted on a group, and he was telling me Terry Bowersox had senior posted on there, said that he hoped that I didn't get caught up in all the drama and was listening and know that Chris and Katie were innocent and all that. And I didn't respond, but I have messaged them on Messenger trying to get them to talk to me, but none of them will. Um, so,
Imagine that.
yeah, I mean, Sister Kathy, you name it, I've messaged them. I spent all day on Ancestry.com, FamilySearch.com, looking all his people up, and it's amazing all the stuff I have found.
Let me read this to you real quick. First of all, Smiley said that Hermitage Hills is a neighborhood.
Okay.
And Miss Kathy Gordon said, Blue Eyes Jewel, I appreciate you and your daughter coming to Tennessee and searching and handing out flyers and everything else you have done to help Sebastian.
You're welcome. And I will not stop helping. And if I could, I would come back up there in a heartbeat. And I was asking him about different people, and he was telling me, because he was fussing about different YouTubers and stuff like that, putting out, crazy stuff and all that. And I asked him about the flashlight. And I said, what color was Sebastian's flashlight that was said it was gone? And he said it's a small yellow one. And I asked him about the deal. I said, sorry for the questions, but I said, did Sebastian wear pull-ups or boxers at your house? And he said both. And he said that Seth always tells everybody that he always come to his house with pull-ups on. And I was like, okay. I was just making sure, because, in case we, when anybody's out there searching, if they see a pull-up or, if that was an everyday thing. And he said no. He said mainly, he would be in boxers at his house. And I had asked him that on the phone too when we was up there. So I felt like, because I know Seth said that he was in pull-ups and he went to school in pull-ups. I've heard things that people have, said about how they made fun of him and stuff about the pull-ups and all that. And I really feel like this child has been let down so much. And I asked Chris a lot of questions. I sent him a whole big message, and I said, I'm going to ask you a few questions. I said, if you don't want to tell me, just tell me it's none of my business and we'll go on. And I said, is it true that you don't want Sebastian near your daughter Faith? And if so, can you tell me why? And he told me to go ahead and list them out. He said, just go ahead and list all your questions and I'll go back and talk to you about it. And I said, and is it true what happened to Sebastian with the SA? And did he get help from that? And I really feel that shouldn't have been told about. When we talked on the phone, when my daughter and I came to Tennessee and you were telling us where to search, what was the name of the road that had the ungodly places in the road? We went down it, and what was the name of the park? I know Mary something, but there is also the Veterans Park there. Is there another park there as well near it? And I said, I had already asked you if he wore boxers or pull-ups, because I know it was said that he wore pull-ups all the time with you and Katie. And I remember you saying that he probably had boxers on, if I recall correctly. And the lie detector test, have you and Katie both taken one? I have heard so much about your parents going to Alaska, and everyone is speculating that they took Sebastian to Alaska and left him with people there. And it talks about Katie not talking to anyone, and that she holds the answers to what happened to Sebastian, that she colored her hair, and they are saying she sold her car and a house is going up for sale, and that she will probably cut it short, and then you and her will run. And I said, what do you have to say about that? And why did you and Katie go to Mississippi and not back to Memphis? Do you know where he is? And I know you told me that day on the phone that you felt like he walked out and someone picked him up. What makes you think that? I said, I also have heard so much about Katie did something to him and you covered it up due to an ultimatum. I said, I believe everyone is innocent till proven guilty. And it's like no one wants to hear what you and Katie has to say, but I do. Like I said, there is two sides to every story, and I hope Sebastian is found safe and sound, and I hope that whoever is involved with this disappearance is punished to the fullest. I said, my daughter and I have put our hearts and soul into this, and I'm so wishing I could come back up there and help search for him. And we have been, I told him, I said, we have put on Facebook and we're willing to send out flyers to anybody that needs them. All they have to do is contact me, which I did get private messages, which I did go and mail out bunches of flyers to different people in different states. And I said, and the last thing I'm going to ask is whose idea was it for Sebastian to go live with Seth? And I said, and I know when you have a divorce, when there is children involved, that is always something, and not every parent does the same thing for punishment and chores and how they let their children live. I know firsthand that it is always something different. I want to say thank you for letting me ask these questions and letting us talk to you last week. Also, please tell Katie I would love to talk to her. There will be no judgment. I just want her baby to be found safe and sound, and it breaks my heart for him. And it's really messed up how everyone is speculating things and how all the misinformation is going around. And I said, I hope you have a good evening, and thanks again. And he said, thank you so much. And the only reason I asked was I want yours and Katie's side. And that's what I told him. And he said, our side is too long to type out, and Ellie has asked us not to talk about it right now. So it's just like I got that every time I asked him something, which everybody has, I think.
Yeah. That's his go-to when he doesn't want to answer.
And it's weird because he comes back on April the 7th at 10:24 p.m. and he says, have you and your daughter posted anything on Facebook about your talks or your searches? And I called him and I asked him, I said, what are you talking about? And he says, well, I was just wondering. It wasn't no big deal. And he says, he told me that night, he said, I got to go. Ellie is calling me. And I said, okay. He said, I will call you back tomorrow is what he messaged me. And so he called me on April the 8th. It was just different things. And he said that he could not tell me the reason why he didn't want Sebastian around Faith, and that Seth should have never put this, that information out. And
I agree with that.
Yes, and I did too, because that's just something. If Sebastian is alive and out there somewhere, or somebody is holding him or something, then he don't need to hear that. I mean,
right.
I don't really think that he knows what the deal is.
Yeah.
Then it's like I got another text at 11:29. He says, I will give you a call later on. Sorry I didn't call you back. He said we was dealing with law enforcement. And, it's always when he gets a phone call while he's trying to call me or something like that, it's like it's always Ellie calling him. Like he's making excuses to get off the phone. Yeah. Or if I start questioning him, he don't want to answer because he's like, okay.
Yeah.
And it was just really weird. And I asked him again about the clothes Sebastian wore. He said the clothes Sebastian wore at Texas Roadhouse are accounted for. I rode around with Ellie one day and they showed me some stuff. I will not provide the details of what was shown to me as people have asked. The phone call was with a search group called Narc Divers. They reached out and asked for information. What I provided to them is information that has been released already. I provided EMA director's point of contact to them, and they took it from there. They recorded the conversation and posted it on YouTube as if it's some big thing. I had talked to Ellie before them and told them what I was going to say, and they were good with it. Anything Trey from the Narc Divers is saying is stuff that Ellie has already. Personally, they are wasting their time looking within 5 miles of my house, according to Ellie. And the more he said, I think after people sees this, he said, trust me, when the truth comes out, it's going to be amazing. Seeing how many people have to eat crow and look like the biggest pieces of garbage. True crime folks on YouTube should probably shut down their shows. LOL. Okay. And I think he was talking about JR, about how he's stalking people and stuff. he said, I'm sure there is something that can be done, but that will have to be handled in court, which technically, I mean, I don't know that he wants to mess with JLR about that.
Right.
And I said, so I said, there's an online visual going for Sebastian that started last night at 7 your time and still going strong. That was the one they did online. He said, where is this at? And I said, online. He said, well, I won't be posting. And I asked him about the deal, why they don't go to vigils. He said, vigils is for when somebody dies. He said, we don't do vigils. And so,
That's crazy.
yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to look through my messages, so just bear with me because there's some that don't even
You're
have to deal
good.
with that. Um,
Yeah, you're good. She's been talking to him for quite a while, guys.
yeah, there's a bunch.
And yeah, Robin, Miss Janice, no, Sebastian did not walk out.
No, I don't
Hey,
think he did either.
Selena and little Miss Sharon.
And um, he was talking about TikTok. He said they don't do TikTok, they don't do Facebook. And I said, well, that's funny because that's how I'm contacting you. We're talking on Facebook, we're in Messenger,
I love
you
that.
know. So yeah, you're on Facebook. And I
Yeah.
said, and I do believe that, you do the YouTube thing too. And I asked him, I said, so I said, how are y'all doing today? And he said, she's doing better than I am today. And I said, what do you mean? He said, I'm just over everyone's BS and negativity from everyone. I'm at the point that I am ready to physically go after some folks, but I am going to handle things in a much better way. I was like, okay. So I didn't talk to him no more the next day because I wasn't going to push it because I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
if he's in the, wanting to go after people, yeah. And, different days I've asked him, hey, how's you and Katie? Any information? No, we're hanging in there, literally. Um, I said, have you left a campground? He said, no, the camper is still there. People are just out there stirring up what they can. And he said, it kills me that these people follow us. And he said, it does, but I think they are learning that we aren't the average person that will run from them. And I said, well, I said, I hope that you have a better day. And I'm hoping that Sebastian is brought home safe. He says, thank you, man, better today. Hopefully we will be feeling much better sooner than later. And he's unsent several messages since then. And I had asked him, this is what got me. I said, good morning, Chris. I said, can I ask a question again? And I said, it was you that told me that was his clothes was accounted for the night that he went missing. I said, or the clothes he had on at Texas Roadhouse. I said, what color shirt and pants did he have on at Texas Roadhouse? I said, I think people are getting that confused. He said, I cannot answer that question. And I said, why is that? And he says, well, first, I wasn't there. And he said, and second, there was, he said, Ellie has those clothes. I was like, okay. And we went on, and I said, you're pretty familiar with Tennessee. I was wanting to know, is there a place called Kent something? Because I've been hearing Kent. He said, there's Kent State University. No new leads of now. He said, but I've got to take care of some things. And I said, okay. So that was it. And he texted me and told me no news other than gossip the next morning. And he sent me the video, the short clip of Katie doing the Reels video. And he sent me that, and he said that she did a great job and that he was proud of her. And he said, I'm going to say this case has become so out of hand. And I said, yes, it has. And I said, well, let me just put it to you this. I said, yes, the case has become so out of hand. All that he said and she said, it annoys me, and they are forgetting what is happening right now. Everyone needs to get off of the finger pointing and focus on what is being done. Like how are they helping find Sebastian by doing all the, going backwards and forth at people. And I said, everybody speculates, but we're all human. Like you told us, we have our opinions. And I said, some may be hurtful and some may not. But I said, our main concern is trying to find out where Sebastian is. Is he safe? Is he alive? Is he somewhere that we can bring him back home? And I said, that's all I want to help do. And he said, yeah. He said, that's one of my theories and my wife's favorite video of him being safe, because I was talking about the green tea video where he holds up the green cup and the tea. And every time I look at that video, it makes me want to cry. And he said, if Seth would close his mouth and his mother stayed out of it, things I feel wouldn't be as bad. And I was like, well, I'm not going to get in on that. Right. And that's when he told me again. He says, I want to say thank you, ma'am. Trust me, when he does come home, I am sure we can arrange for you and him to meet. And there's just different things that he, I'm hoping that he does come home, and I'm going to hold him to it because I want to meet that baby if he does.
Right.
And sure. Then it was like, I got to talk. I mean, like I said, I felt like I had gotten a relationship with him going as to be able to talk to him. And then it amazed me because one night when we talked, Katie was there. And this was right before the picture come out of the supposable spotting of Sebastian at Grandfather Mountain. And so right before that, I asked him which roadhouse it was because I wasn't familiar with things up there. And I knowed when I looked online that there was more than one Texas roadhouse showing on the map, and one had closed down, and one was actually the one that they went to, which is now the only one open, I think. Oh. And see, the reason why I asked because when he said search the Indian Lake area, that's where he said the Texas Roadhouse was Indian Lake. So I got to wondering about that. So that's why I asked if it had been searched or not, because Texas Roadhouse, Indian Lake, on Indian Lake, and there he tells me to search Indian Lake. And I asked him, I said, could there have been anybody following her? And he said nobody was following. And so then we got to talking about Katie's information about her side of the family. And we won't go in that because everybody does that situation. And I asked him, I told him, I texted him that morning because I woke up. That's the first thing I do is I wake up and check my phone, see if they've found anything, if there's any new news or things like that. And then
yeah, I think we all do that.
Yeah, so I go to sleep watching this stuff, and and it's something. And was there somebody by the name of Mark?
Mark?
Yes.
I don't remember a Mark. Does anybody remember a name Mark? I don't remember.
I don't know. I don't know who that was.
I don't know. I've not heard the Mark name before.
Okay. And I did write a letter to Katie. I sent it to her house, and she never responded, but she did tell Chris that she got my letter. There was a vigil at the school, and I asked him, I said, did you attend? We didn't attend, but I did come to talk to Seth. And I said, well, that's good that you did. I said, hopefully you can all put things behind and find where that precious boy is. And he said, that is the plan. We can deal with the indifferences later. And so I guess, that's when we found out that they weren't going to work together was after that.
Right.
Um, he says, everybody is, I said, I'm not trying to be nosy. I said, I just told you from the beginning, a lot of stuff was said. And I said, I'm putting this out to you too, that I think everyone's innocent until proven guilty. And I said, and I'm not going to try to make things out looking like the bad guy and all this. And he said, let them, law enforcement knows the truth, and so do we. And he said, if everyone wants to drink the Kool-Aid, let them. And I said, okay. And so he keeps telling me every morning, if he'll text me or I'll text him, have you heard anything? Still no leads. We're hanging in there. And I think this is where I told y'all, I said, can I ask if you and Katie are doing a prayer vigil at the church? Because there was something going around on Facebook that they thought that Chris and them was doing one. And he says, we have not done anything as far as a vigil goes. I am back working and Katie travels with me, so she isn't alone in the house with the crazy ass people trying to go there and start some stuff. Normally, vigils are reserved for those who have passed. We refuse to believe Sebastian has passed on. And then,
Can you say that last part again?
Oh yeah, he said, I was talking about the vigil that was supposedly going to be at the church. Just scroll up, hang on. And I said, are you and Katie doing a prayer vigil at the church? He said, we have not done anything as far as a vigil goes. I am back working and Katie travels with me, so she isn't alone in the house with the crazy ass people trying to go there and start some stuff. Normally, vigils are reserved for those who have passed. We refuse to believe Sebastian has passed on.
Are you there?
And, yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay. You faded out for a minute.
Okay, so what part did you hear?
Him and Katie were not doing the vigil, and then it started getting kind of robot-y, and then you faded out.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Is it okay? Okay.
Now.
Okay, he says, we have not done anything as far as a vigil goes. I am back working. Katie travels with me, so she isn't alone in the house with the crazy ass people trying to go there and start some stuff. Normally, vigils are reserved for those who have passed. We refuse to believe Sebastian has passed on.
Okay.
And he said, and the thing that bothers me the most is these people, the only way people will truly understand this is for them to be in our shoes. And I don't wish this on anyone for that matter, really. So then the picture comes out of the possible sighting in Grandfather Mountain. I'm 20 minutes from there. So I get my mom. I said, get up, we're going to Grandfather Mountain today. Katie was crying on the phone with me and Chris on the phone. And she's like, that looks so much like my baby. Please go up there and check. Well, this was the day after. And I said, I will go up there and see what I can find out. And I said, I'm not far from it. I said, if that's what you want me to do. And she was telling me that Sebastian's breastbone sticks out a little bit more because it's growing outwards instead of where it needs to be. So she said, you would be able to tell if it was him, which, I mean, he wasn't, the same little boy wasn't there. I mean, they wasn't no way they were going to be there the same day. But we went up there and I took flyers. We paid $50 to get in for me and my mom. The guy at the ticket stand, he gave us our receipt, and I gave him a flyer, and he said that he would pass it along and see if they could post them at the entrances. So we got up there and we went to where Sebastian or the little boy would have been standing, and we got out and I recreated everything where he would have been standing and all that. So we went into the wilderness center right there, and I asked the lady there, I said, were you working yet Saturday? And she said, no, why? What is this concern? And I was telling her, I said, I was trying to see if you seen the little boy that was supposed to have been, that looks like Sebastian Rogers, the little boy that was missing. And I showed her a flyer. Well, she gets on the phone and she calls somebody and she said, if you'll wait right here, I've got somebody coming up to talk to you.
Hang on
he comes in.
Hang on. If you're listening, pay close attention to this next part because it's absolutely crazy what happens to her. Okay.
All right, so we this guy comes in and he says, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Yes." I said, "I'm wanting to find out information about, the little boy that was up here on Saturday that everybody is thinking that it's Sebastian Rogers." And I showed him the flyer, and he tells me, um, "You can come down to the office and we can talk there." And I said, "Well, why can't we just talk here?" And he said, "No, we'd have to go to the office." So I follow him back down, and I go into the office. I'm led to a conference room. There is a lady sitting to the left of me. The guy that come up to get me at the main top of the mountain was in front of me, and another guy was to the right of me. I had to show my license. I had to give them my phone number. I showed them pictures where I had been up there searching the whole sheet, and I got interrogated like I had just committed the worst crime that you had ever thought. I just told him, he asked me what my relationship was to him. I said, "I'm just a concerned person being up there to look for him." I said, "I know that there is, supposedly a sighting up here. We don't know if it was him and all this, but I mean, they questioned me about everything about him, and why I was up there and just everything." And he said, "This stuff will be turned over to law enforcement." I said, "Go ahead, because I have nothing to hide. I didn't do anything. I'm just here as a good Samaritan trying to find this little boy." Finally got out of an interrogation room. And I mean, this lady was writing down everything I said in there. And, like I said, they took copies of my license and stuff like that. I had to give them phone numbers. Anything that they wanted, I gave them. Because, like I said, I don't have nothing to hide. And that's exactly what I told them, which really shocked me. But Chris told me the whole time it wasn't him. Katie said yes. And so I come back and I called him back and I told him, I said, "Look," I said, "I just got interrogated by the people at Grandfather Mountain." And I said that they wrote everything down about what I said. And I said, which is fine. I said, like I said, I told them I don't have nothing to hide. I was just up there looking. And I said, hopefully we'll find out something soon about it and all that. I said, and so going from there, the next conversation was about, I'm not sure, Terry Lynn that found the pants. And he was not very happy with her. So I won't even read what he said about that. And I think it come back that they were not his pants. So he said that they're keeping tight-lipped about it. And I said, "Who's keeping tight-lipped?" And he said, "Law enforcement." And I was asking him about Mother's Day, how I thought that Katie was going to react to Mother's Day. And the way he told me was just weird. It gave me an eerie feeling. And I think this is when things started turning for me. And he said, "We'll handle that when it gets here." But he said, "I think she's doing pretty good." And he said, "Well, we're taking one day at a time." And so when Mother's Day did come, I said, "I'd like to wish her a happy Mother's Day in the instance." So I said, "I know it's not a good time to say that, but she is still a mom." And he said, "Well, she's doing good." She said that she's holding her own and she was doing pretty good, And I'm sitting here thinking,
How?
that was my child missing on Mother's Day. I would be bawling my eyes out. I would probably
Exactly.
be a
The
wreck.
only child she has as well.
Yeah.
I mean, she doesn't have any other child. So he was the one that made her the mother.
So this is weird.
You're
So
cutting out again.
okay. We
Okay,
have been
you're
having
good.
issues. We have been having issues with our internet. So um I was asking him about, he had called me because I asked him, I said, there's too much to type here. I said, is there a way you could call me, or can I call you? Because I said, it's a lot to type. And I said, I'm thinking about going back up to Tennessee. And I said, and searching again. And this has bothered me, and this has bothered me. And I talked to Lolly about this. She was the first person I told about this. And I told him, I said, if we come back up there, I said, would you be able to tell me where I need to go look? And so like I said, we were on the phone, and he said yes. And he said, I'm not supposed to tell anybody this, but I feel like I can trust you with this. And he said, but Ellie,
Listen to this. Listen to this part, guys. Sorry,
Ellie
go
has
ahead.
hurt. No, you're fine. Ellie, or my heart's like beating out of my chest right now. He said, Ellie has told us that Sebastian is most likely dead, and that we need to search northwest of the search. They've already done a 5-mile radius of a search, but they're saying that they need to go another 10 yards or 10 miles out. So we're looking at, so if they already did 5, so there's another 15 out. So anywhere from 15 to a 20-mile radius from the house.
Northwest.
Yes. And I said, why do you feel like he would have been in that area? Or is it a way he knew, or what? And he said, that is just the direction Ellie recommended to us. Why is Ellie telling you that?
Right.
Why aren't they searching northwest? He said, I don't know. He said, that's just what they recommended. And he said, and all I can say is we're hanging in there, and that's all. And it really, that bothered me. I mean,
Right.
It really got to me.
Yeah.
And so, a couple days went on and all that. I didn't talk or anything because it just, it bothered me so much that I was sick. And I think I told you the same day that I told you.
Right.
I was like, oh God, do I do this? Do I not? What do I do? And so I think the last time I talked to him was because I had to fly out of state. And I come back, and Mother's Day got brought back up. And again, I don't know what brought Mother's Day back up. And he said, I just wanted to let you know that Katie handled it pretty well for what she could, and my parents were around her, and he had to work all day. I said, well, that's good that she had somebody with her and all that stuff. And I did contact other people about what he had told me, and if it was passed along or not. I don't feel right calling Hendersonville Police Department. I really don't. Because I feel like that, okay, he does have a neighbor that's in his community that works there. And I really just feel like that they are involved with somebody there. And he had mentioned 2 names that I don't even know who they are. And I don't know if they work for the police department there or not. I can't say. I don't know. But he told me that he didn't do the ride, or the motorcycle ride. And he did say that he did an interview with somebody, but I don't think he didn't tell me who that was. And then I've got a little cousin that has cerebral palsy and autistic and stuff like that. And I was asking him because we were talking about peanut butter. He said that Sebastian loved peanut butter, that they had to buy him his own jar. And we were talking about that because she was like that. And he keeps telling me there's no leads, nothing new. And he's unsent, I don't know how many messages, like he was going to try to tell me something. So I went back and I asked him again I said, I had sent him one at 9:10 one night. I said, good evening, Chris. I said, Katie did a good job on her interview on that Reels, and I was sitting here remembering back to our phone conversation.
Hang on. Start that over because you got kind of blurry there again.
Okay. I told him, I said, good evening, Chris. I said, I wanted to let you know that I did watch the interview, that, did good on her interview today. I was sitting here remembering back to our phone conversation about they were saying that Sebastian had passed and it would be a recovery and maybe searching a 10 to 10.5 mile radius north or northwest of the house. And I said, again, is that a specific location? Does it go into another city, county, or what the area is like? And he never would answer that back. And it went on till May 25th. And he said, searching outside the 5 mile radius is the best place to start. Sometimes he slept with socks on. I was like, what did that have? I didn't ask you nothing about.
That's really strange. Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, and you said north or northwest, correct? He said, yes, but please do not spread that out to the public. He told me not to even tell Seth. And I told him I wouldn't, but here I am. And
That's
then I
probably
waited.
Not even in here, so you officially probably haven't said anything to Seth.
I said, if I was looking at your home, he said, just go in the general direction of northwest. And he keeps bringing that up. And I just, I was like, why do you keep mentioning this direction?
Exactly.
And I said, in one of the pictures when he is sitting in the car, I said, did he normally wear that the chest brace? And I was wondering if that's because of the thing that she said that his breastplate, was growing out. So that's what I was wondering. He said he used to wear it, but he hasn't worn it in a long time. So is this something that he needs to be wearing, that y'all are just not letting him wear or not putting on him? Because, I just really didn't. I don't know. That bothered me too, because if he's not getting his meds and he's not wearing a brace, and knowing that he probably needs it because of his chest, I just,
right.
I don't know, but that bothered me a bunch too. So here's more stuff to add to the list of why I'm not feeling like I can.
Smiley said, where is it then? Do cops have it? Have what, Smiley? Let's see what she's asking.
Probably the brace.
Oh, the brace. Yeah, you're supposed to wear it 24/7, she said.
Okay, well, in that one picture that he's sitting in the car, he's got it on. But we've all seen, it hasn't been recent pictures of him. It looks like a younger Sebastian.
Right.
So I don't know if maybe, he outgrew that one. I don't know. There's a possibility, but it looks like they would, every time you grow, that they would give you a different one.
I would think so,
and it was weird that I also started getting Facebook messages from a guy, and I'm not going to mention the name.
Yeah,
just in case he's crazy. Legit.
Yeah.
But it bothers me because he's always online at the same time that Chris is, and he knows a lot of information. And I talked to Lolly about that, and we had discussed some things about it, but it just seems like he
Yeah,
knows too much.
the guy that is texting her through Facebook Messenger is not far from where I live, but yet he knows a lot. And there's a lot of things
And
that she and I both are checking on right now and making some calls on it because this guy's told her a bunch of stuff. So we're not going to mention it all just right now because we really don't have any answers from anybody yet, but we can always bring it up here once we give it some time to find the answers. And we're not trying to be rude, it's just trying to protect these places that we're checking out, basically. Okay, are
and
you there? Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if y'all know, but there is a Facebook group called Chris Proud. Chris Proudfoot is innocent. And I thought it was really weird because the first post on it said, about that time, a real man can't miss his lunch. And he's got a big plate of food sitting out there. And I said, oh my gosh. So I asked him if it was him. I said, did you create this group? He said, no. And he said he don't mind being a guest on anybody's shows, but Katie, on the other hand, will be difficult because he's at work and she won't do shows without him. And he said you can reach out to her and ask her what she thinks. And I said, what about if I was to start my own? And he said, I'd still say it doesn't hurt to ask. He said, but I would be glad to come on your show. And I said, so is there any lawsuits in the future? Because I had heard, there was a thing that saying that he was suing some people. And he said, I have not even said I was suing anybody. And I asked him again, I said about if Sebastian had access to the internet or YouTube or anything like that. And he said he didn't at our house because I was very strict about that. And if he did, it would have been at his father's house. And I was like, okay. I said, can we talk about, the day that he went missing? And I said, I had to comment about the spaghetti pancakes because that was just something I was like, oh, that don't even sound appetizing, but I did find out what they were. He told me exactly what they were. And so he said he had a good weekend. Said that they usually do that stuff. They go out and do fun things when, he's not at home or anything like that. And I was trying to find this one thing that he sent. He sent me a thing saying that it was about Seth. That somebody had asked Seth to talk to him and he wouldn't do it. That he told him he would have to pay him, which we've already discussed that. But that was the first thing he sent me one morning.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that's all he's about. And then he asked me about the deal about the girl that was supposedly with him, which I don't know why he was asking me because I don't know what Seth does. He was asking me about the girl that Seth took with him to Grandfather Mountain. And I was like, I have no idea. I don't keep up with him. And he said that he went into talking about the deal about Seth and all that. And like I said, I told him, I said, well, I can't comment on anything that Seth does because I said I don't know his personal life. I preferably do not care to know about his personal life. I just want his child found. And I asked him about the body that was found in Cumberland River, and he said, when was the body found? And I said, today. And I sent him the clip of it. And he said, if I find out anything, I will let you know, I promise. And he said, there hasn't been any news on the body found. I was like, but I had already heard that it wasn't. And he goes, but doesn't sound like anything we should be worried about. It's not close to our house.
Isn't
I'm
that
like,
something?
I
That
was
one
like,
just floored me when you read
oh,
that to me. I was like, wait, what?
yeah. And so to me, it's like he's telling me to stay around the house.
Yeah,
He's somewhere around that house.
that's what he's making it out to be. Yes, it always refers back to the house. But I do think after hearing that video, I do
Yes,
think he's been taken off somewhere.
I do too. And
And
so,
so he sounds to me like he's trying to keep people searching around the house so they don't go too far out, like 15.5 miles out northwest.
so when I looked at Google Maps, that is most of the places. I mean, I went on Google Maps and Google Earth, and I pinpointed from their house, went so much distance, and there's some churches out that way, but it's mostly wooded area. But there is some several bodies upon, water around and stuff like that. But I just really think that if he is in water, these search and dive teams, they need to be looking in the water also out that way.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where they're going to find him. And this is when he said, I just wanted to let you know, this was June 6th at 1:28 a.m. There is no new news or anything yet. Katie received your letter the other day in the mail. Just wanted to let you know that. When it comes to YouTube and interviews, Katie and myself are going to take a break for a while. We both need to step away from the negativity right now and focus on us and Sebastian. We can chat, but just aren't going to do the social media stuff for a while. And then it's been very short, sweet, and just no news, no problem. Ellie hasn't really told us much. And June the 9th, I texted him and he said they were hanging in one day at a time. Because, like I said, usually he'll get up and say no news or something like that. And they just haven't, I mean, he's just been quiet. And then I think we all figured out why he's been quiet and not been doing interviews because of his visitation.
Yes.
And I asked him, I said, do you know, I had asked him, I said about his daughter being there, and he said, my daughter is off limits to everyone. She is fine and having a great time, the time of her life.
Same thing
And
they said about Sebastian that day, huh?
Yeah, so that right there creeped me out because I'm like, okay. But I don't think anything would be bad. I've not heard from him since. That was the last text message that I got from him, and I have not had any phone calls. But my thing is that now I'm seeing true colors, and especially after hearing the message or the conversation, it has really sit there with Justin going backwards and forth, putting on headphones, holding them tight, putting in different earbuds, earbuds and stuff, and just trying to listen to it. And when the lady actually posted it, I was like, oh my God, I've got to hear this, And I was sitting there looking at every which way possible with the car lights, with the back lights coming on and stuff like that. And I'm beginning to wonder if it was his truck and that was his tailgate that we were hearing and that.
Yes, that it definitely sounded like a tailgate being shut.
And it just, I really feel like Sebastian's not with us no longer.
Yeah.
So, and I
Yeah.
think Janice was asking, she said, I wonder why Chris was asking about the lady that drove Seth to Grandfather Mountain. I don't know. I'm just wondering, sometimes if some of these people that's getting in with him is part of their team.
Right.
So,
I'm just wondering, why did you get interrogated so bad? Justin went up there, videoed the whole daggum thing, talked to people inside,
I think
and
because
got
it
in
was
his
the next
car.
day after.
Yeah, got in his car and left. So yeah, just being the next day after, I guess. And but oh my gosh, yeah,
And
Kathy, how is it possible that a judge okayed him visitation for the whole summer when they lost a child? Like lost. I
I
mean,
I've questioned that too. And, after speaking to certain people, uh, I really think that if people like us in every state that has been on this case, looking at everything that has been said and people that are helping with searches and doing their part by trying to keep his name out there and reporting back if there's any new news or anything, I really think that all of us need to get together and stand up for these children because these children are getting left out bad. And I don't know what's going on in Tennessee, but all these kids that are missing up there, and then, and all these
yeah,
people, I keep seeing all these people missing. Every day it's somebody else, but they're missing all over the place.
yes,
And, it's not just Tennessee, but it's everywhere. And I think that these kids need a voice for them. If it takes,
yes,
trying to get new laws put in place. I mean, I did reach out to the lady that got the Amber Alert started when her daughter Amber went missing. I did reach out to her. I have not heard back from her yet. That she could possibly give us some ideas of what we need to do because she fought hard to get that Amber Alert in place, and not just talking about when Sebastian went missing. I didn't get an Amber Alert. They say they're supposed to be nationwide. Don't just put
right,
it out in the state that it's in. Put it out everywhere because you never know. Just like they
right,
thought he was in North Carolina. We never knew he was missing until the Riley Strain case was going on. But I
right.
just think that everybody needs to get together and come together as one and, give a voice for these kids because these kids can't answer for themselves.
For
We have
sure.
we went through so much stuff in North Carolina with kids missing, and the outcome has been horrifying and horrific. And I mean, we had one case where this little kid she had cancer and was an amputee and all that, and it was bad. And CPS reports were made, they were continuous CPS reports made, and nothing was done. And now she's dead. And we can't bring her back. But if CPS would have done the job and law enforcement would have stood up for them and done what they needed to do, then she would have possibly been here. And I don't think we would have as many kids. And I think we need to go like Florida. I think Florida has I think somebody was telling me that they had there that if you hurt a child or the SA, that you got automatic death penalty.
Yes,
And I think that's the way it should be.
yes. And matter of
Bring the
fact,
firing squad back. I mean,
right?
hang them in
Exactly.
town, you know, do what you need to do to protect your children.
Right.
I mean, I know we can't
Scott
handle
H.
it in our own way.
Right. Scott H. had told us that they had just passed a law in Tennessee. If you harm or anything to a child from 12 and under, it is an automatic death penalty.
I think that
So
it's the way it should be,
it
but I
should
don't
be
think,
everywhere.
but the age, I don't know. I mean, they're not
Yeah.
considered an adult until they're 18.
Right. I think it should be
Because a
18 and
16-year-old, look at Sebastian, he couldn't go out and get a job and support himself
right.
because, you know, you're not supposed to discriminate. But I know from a place that I worked here, one of my friends took his son in there and was just wanting to see if he could get a part-time job, just, you know, a couple
Hey,
days a
hang on.
week.
You're roboting again.
Okay, see if this is good. But
Okay, say something.
okay, so where I used to work, I had a friend that had
No,
a son.
you're
No?
still
Okay. Okay, let's try this
a
now. Can you hear me?
hygiene in.
I
I think
don't
we
know which
can
way.
hear you. Yep.
Okay. I was looking to
You're
see
good.
if the internet was still on because it was like it's been off the last 2 days doing different
Oh
things.
goodness.
So, where I used to work, I had a guy friend, one of my guy's friends that I know really well. He had a son that was handicapped, and he was wanting to come in and let him do things, you know, a couple days a week. And the manager would not even talk to him, would not even hire him, and let him do like getting buggies and putting stuff on shelves and stuff like that, but they wouldn't let him do it. And I think a lot of people discriminate, which they're not supposed to, but I really do. But the thing that I worry about the most is that this child out here could not defend, he would not be able to defend himself. And he's not
Right.
capable of, you know, working to support himself. So
Yeah.
why should the age be that limit? Why shouldn't it be, you know,
Right.
make a higher age and, you know, and then
You're
go from
right.
there. It should not be 16, you know, it should not be a cutoff date or cutoff time until they're an adult. I mean, because
Right.
it's just saying, hey, wait until they're a certain age and then you do whatever you want to them, and you're, you know, you're not going to get death penalty. You're probably going to get a slap on the wrist.
Right.
And it's just
Yeah.
like baby Mia, you know, the little 8-month-old.
Right. Oh my
And what's
gosh,
probably,
that poor baby.
yeah, and what's probably going to keep them in there is the drug charges.
Right. Not hurting
Like
the
the
baby.
case here. It's just like the case here that I was telling you about, the little amputee with cancer. Her
Right.
name was Laura, and she wasn't from this country. But all her stepmom got was 10 years, and she's already done it. Susan
That.
Smith is coming out of prison in November, probably on parole. But it makes me sick at what all these people are doing to children and how they're treating them and everything.
Exactly. It is super sad.
And, you
It
know,
is sad.
yesterday with Summer being gone as long as she has, and
Yeah.
that poor child
That
needs,
kind of hit.
it
That
needs
one
closure.
hit hard for a lot of us
Oh,
because, you know, we've been here for 3 years.
yeah.
Hey, Ken. Thanks for being here. Everybody that's come in while she was talking, thank y'all for being here and listening. She was sharing text messages between her and Chris Proudfoot.
So, but anyway, I mean, I'm just going to keep digging and hopefully he will keep talking to me. But if anybody gets a chance to go and search, please search northwest.
Yes.
And I'm not trying to be smart about that or make fun or anything, but I just think it needs to be searched now.
It really
I
does.
really do. And like I said, if you look at it and you pinpoint from their house to that outside region, you will see that I think it's really a lot of woods. It would be a lot to cover. and just don't go by yourself. Go in teams because it looks like it
Right.
would be a lot of just I don't know. And I don't want to be by myself if I was to roll up on something. And but stay in teams if you go. But I'm glad I
Yeah.
got to talk and get this off my chest because it has been bothering me so bad.
Well,
So
thank you for sharing all of that. We really appreciate it. You want to tell them what TBI said when you called them?
I can't even remember what all I told you, to be honest. But you can, if you want to go ahead and tell them,
Basically,
I can't. Yeah, that it would be
okay.
passed on. But you can go ahead. I
Basically,
can't remember the whole thing.
yeah, they could they're basically not the lead investigator, so they had to pass it on to the local PD.
And then I feel like that we're not gonna get no answer out of that because, like I said, I think that there's some inside jobs going on with that.
Yeah, for sure.
And I probably
I
shouldn't say
believe
that,
that.
and because I mean, believe me, I don't have nothing against law enforcement. I have I have problems with people that don't do their job in law enforcement.
Right. Right. Oh yeah, my son was, law enforcement for a long time.
I've got
And
plenty of friends in law enforcement, and I've talked to them. I even talked to some of them that tells me, if you want to go search, we'll go with you. And I'm like, okay, but with the health concerns, I can't do it right now. So that's just I want to go back up there though.
yeah.
I've been trying to talk my son and daughter to go back up there, but we'll see if they
Well,
want to do it.
on behalf of everybody, I would say thank you for what you have done. You have gone and searched, you've passed out flyers, you went to the mountain thing to ask questions. That's amazing that you can actually do that. And not everybody's close enough to do that.
Oh
And I
yeah,
know if
I
there
understand
was a
that.
lot of us that was close enough to be able to do it, we would all be out there doing it as well. But thank you for that, and thank you for sharing everything with everybody. It gives a little more insight into Chris Proudfoot.
Right. And that's why I
So,
said it has bothered me, but I feel like a ton of weight has been taken off of me now.
well, good. Good, good,
So,
good. There's just a lot of questions that
oh
just
yeah,
hang in the air. And Kathy, like Kathy said, keep up the good work, Blue Eyes Jewel.
I'm gonna
So
try.
you're doing good. You're doing good. She is dedicated to this case. She's not going to stop, just like the rest of us, and we're all here. We want answers. We're not getting answers. And I don't know if you guys have heard the audio, but after hearing that audio, you can definitely tell Chris Proudfoot is the one talking. It is
Yeah,
very
that
obvious.
was very, very interesting
Yeah.
to hear, and
Yeah.
it's I sit here with chills just
Yeah.
thinking about
Every
it
time I
and
hear it,
playing
they're
it backwards
putting,
and forth.
it just what we know from the words that we can make out, basically, they're putting Sebastian inside a truck, it sounds like.
Yeah,
And I think it might be in the very back of the truck because you hear the tailgate shut.
yeah, and I think I can't remember about his vehicle, but I don't know, does he have a cover on the back of the truck bed? Because I know on my
I
truck
have
it has a cover on it, and I'm wondering uh, if his is covered.
I have not paid attention. Hey, Brat.
But
Um,
I think that's what they were doing, and I honestly think they were four people all together there.
yes,
One driving, maybe driving the truck, putting it
yes,
where we seen, and then the three carrying. And I think
yeah.
Katie was flipping. So,
Oh,
but
yeah,
I just
yeah. And at the, towards the end of that audio, I think it was last night when Justin heard it and he was like, oh my gosh, that was Katie. And
yes,
you have to listen very close when she tells Sebastian, I love you. And you could
yeah.
hear the hurt in her voice. And she says, I love you.
But the thing of it is I feel this way. You can tell somebody you love them, but if
Yeah,
you can take their last breath away, that's not love.
exactly. Exactly. Ken here in chat, guys, he is having a vigil tomorrow night on his channel for Sebastian Rogers at 7:30, a prayer vigil. So if one of the mods could drop his link to his channel, and if y'all would like to sub up to him and join him tomorrow night at 7:30 for a prayer vigil, anything we can do, prayer, pass out flyers, whatever we can do, let's do it, guys. Thank you, Smiley.
I do still have plenty of flyers, so if anybody needs any or wants any sent to them, just reach
Yeah,
out and I can get them to you. But I do have plenty left and
good
stuff.
deal. Yeah. This case is as crazy as what Summer's case was or still is. And we don't want this to go on another 2 years, 2.5 years.
That's for sure. We
It's,
don't want it to go a cold case.
yeah, no, not
But
at all.
for summer, all these kids need to be brought home. They
They
need
do.
justice, and either if it's alive or, you know, that they're not with
And
us, but they need a proper burial.
they do. They do for sure. And, if you, even with all the drama that has been created throughout this short time with Sebastian's case, guys, if it wasn't for us here talking about him all the time, if it wasn't for people listening to our channels and stuff, their names would get lost just on a board somewhere, with lots of missing kids flyers or flyers for a fundraiser or something, it would just get lost, and there would be nobody looking, nobody talking about them. So if we avoid the drama and keep doing what we're doing, guys, we're doing a good thing. And people like Blue Eyes here, she has stepped out and made contact and started this report with Chris. And you can tell even with her, in the casual chat, he always refers back to law enforcement won't allow me to say that or answer that, or I can't answer that. And it's always those questions that are the big questions that we want to know. Hey, Whistle. But it is the saddest thing. I'm sure he's on medicine. I'm sure he's needing medicine if he is still out there. And we have a lot that needs to be done. And we have to see it through, guys. We have to do it like we've done for Summer's case as well. But I do want to thank you so much for coming out and being brave and telling your story.
Well, the
And
good
all,
news is that, if it was, I know that for a fact that if I would have went on any other channel and told this, I would knew I'd been called a liar. But I have them in Messenger, so I have them. I mean,
yeah.
it just it's been, they can call me a liar. Anybody can call me a liar, but I know what I've talked about and stuff, and I felt like I could trust you enough to put it out
Oh,
there and all that stuff. And all your chats, everybody's so nice in here. And
oh, good
I,
job,
I
guys.
have been I have been on another channel, on a TikTok thing with my daughter, and they were, oh my gosh, I was accused of being with Chris. I was going to be his number 6, and I'm like, no, that is not going to happen.
Not happening.
Because I got kids and he wants to mess with my kids. That's going to be the wrong thing to
That's
do.
for sure. Yeah.
I'm just like,
That
no.
no.
But I just
Yeah.
want to thank
Everybody
everybody
said
for
that
being
you
so
have a
nice.
beautiful heart. Everybody's saying that you have a beautiful heart and it shows.
I try. In this world, it's
Yeah.
hard to have one, but you got to. So,
Yeah.
but
And
I just want to say thank you for letting
I
me
told
be
her,
on
if oh yeah, I've told her that if she came and talked, that you guys would just, be very respectful to her. And I just appreciate all my chat for listening. I'm sure, there'll probably be something said about it, but you got the truth
here.
behind you.
I do. And,
And just don't worry,
I'm not
we
worried
got,
about it. I just want to find Sebastian.
yeah, it's all about Sebastian. Yeah, totally. And everything you talked to him about was about Sebastian. So,
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's like I told I know I drive my kids nuts with this, but it's everything. I think I talk about it all the time. We get in the car, me and my mom goes to go somewhere, and we got, it's all about Sebastian. It's all about Sebastian. We're listening to things about it and stuff. And
right.
I think I drive her nuts with it too, but she's just like I am. She went up there. She's talked to Chris. He's talked to her like he knew her for, all his life.
Wow.
And so, it's something how he would talk to her too, and just, keep just out loud. He would I mean, I'd have him on speakerphone and she would hear half the stuff he was saying, and he was, okay with it. So
Well, I hope he's okay when the truth comes out.
heck, we'll see. I guess we'll see
Yeah.
who will grow.
Yeah.
But thank you guys
Totally.
for being so kind and hearing me out. And, I hope that we can bring Sebastian home soon, and Summer, and the list goes on. So
Yes. Yes.
we can.
Yes. Well, we do appreciate you so much. Prayers to you that you stay strong. And, guys, I've even told her if she starts feeling overwhelmed with this case, just back away for a day or two, regroup, because we all know it can get to you really quick. But I am going to play a video real quick that I've done. And it is all about Sebastian. So let me play this real quick. Hey guys, that smile, Janice, you're right. There is not a picture in there where that child was not smiling. He was happy. He lit up the room, I bet. And it breaks my heart that we don't know where he is. And it is so very sad that it's not just him that's missing. There's so many more kids out there. And all we can do is just keep putting their names out there. Hey, Matthew, thanks for being here. I appreciate everybody that was here listening. I appreciate our guest as she shared with us a lot, a lot of stuff here. And once we have some answers on the things that we're checking on, we will get back in touch with y'all and let everybody know what we find out. I should have a call back to confirm something Monday, so hopefully I'll get my end cleared up pretty soon. But we're just taking what we hear, what we're learning, and moving forward with it. But I do want to tell everybody that is in chat, if you are a father, if you are a mother who has had to play the father role as well, happy Father's Day to y'all. I know a father is a wonderful thing to have in your life, and you are also appreciated. So, all of you fathers out there, I hope you've had a wonderful day. And Blue Eyes, you're precious. Thank you so much for what you do. We are lucky to have you as our friend, and you're just appreciated. And if you start your own channel, you let us know because we will all follow you.
Thank you.
We will be there with you. We will support you.
Thank
And
you.
we'll keep
That means a
you
lot.
in our little community here, and we'll take good care of you.
Thank you again.
Yeah.
I guess I will be talking to you probably sooner than later.
Okay. You just call me.
All
All
right,
right.
guys. Y'all have a good evening. Thanks for listening.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you all for being here tonight. I really appreciate everybody being so kind to her. I really appreciate everything that she did because that took a lot. And she's been holding on to it for a while. And she wasn't quite sure what she needed to do about it, but she wanted to put it out there. So I am proud that she chose our channel here. And y'all share this out. People need to hear it. You know, I just can't get over the fact that every time she wanted to ask a question and he didn't want to answer it, how funny it was, different ways that he would avoid it. And those were answers that we all want to know. So, anyways, guys, thank you, thank you, thank you. I will be back this week, couple of days. I don't know. We'll see how the week goes, but don't forget about these kids. Keep them in your hearts, keep them in your minds. Share their pictures, share their flyers. And if there is any news that you have, call 1-800-TBI-FIND because we need to bring these kids home one way or the other. So thank you all. Mwah. Love and hugs to everybody. And we will see you soon. I love you guys.